Once I found out and saw, we made the hire, I instantly texted Monty and was like, shoot me the new head coach number. And I shot him a decent text, and told him how fired up I was to, get to work with him and things like that. And before I could put my phone back down, I had a FaceTime call coming right in, and it was from Coach Mike. And, when he picked up, I was like super juiced, obviously. And, just to have those few words with him and just for him to pick up the call and pick up the phone and call me right away, it was super dope, honestly. And, it just shows how much he cares, obviously, and, how much he's ready to get to work with his guys.
What do you bring to this team?
I think he'll bring some juice, obviously. You seen the press conference. Obviously, I feel like he's a great guy, a great leader of men. Everything I've heard from guys at the Rams has been everything I've seen so far. So I'm excited to see, what he can bring to this team. Like he said already, I feel like we weren't far off, and I feel like we got some good stuff going into this season. So we'll see how this thing goes.
Why was it so important to be here today for his intro presser?
I feel like it was important not only just because he's the new head coach here. Just I feel like just the leader I am on this team. It just says a lot of how I carry myself. Once I got the text yesterday that he was having his press conference today, I instantly booked a flight that night out and came here. So I feel like it just shows the person I am, honestly, and I'm not doing it out of a front to trying to be somebody I'm not. Just genuinely who I am, and obviously I care about this team, this organization, and I just want to win. And I feel like having the guys here that was here today just shows Coach LaFleur like we're behind him, and obviously I feel like it gives him a sense of confidence and juice, and fired up and stuff like that.
Mack, another new start for this team, another new coaching staff, another new plan. Are you ready for this challenge and what stands ahead?
Yeah, definitely. It's the second time I've been through a head coaching change. First time happened in Cleveland. After I think it was Freddie Kitchens, and we brought in Stefanski the next year. So it's my second time going through this, and I could honestly say that I'm super fired up this time around. I would say, obviously, with me being a key player on the team and things like that. So I'm excited, honestly, and I can't wait to, like Coach said, I can't wait to hit the ground running and start building this team.
What did that last coaching change you went through teach you about, like maybe what to expect or the differences that could happen early in the season?
Yeah, I was young at the time. I think I was 20 when that happened, and 7 years ago. It's crazy, and I was it just opened my eyes up to it's really a business. Obviously, you don't really know much when you come in your first year, and once I seen that, and like I was telling all the guys around here, when I did have that coaching change that year, the next year we went 12-5. So it could be a positive. You never know, but you got to put the work in and lean on one another, believe in each other, and just trust the process.
What are the characteristics of playing against a Mike LaFleur coached offense?
It was tough. It was never easy. It was one of the games that I was always juiced and excited for, honestly, because I knew that they was going to try to run the ball and things like that. So I feel like when you play in a team like that, you really got to be sound in detail because, like he said, they do a lot of things pre-snap. They do a lot of different dressing up with how they move Puka and all those other great guys around. So it was definitely a challenge going up against them, but it was always fun, honestly. I enjoyed it because I knew it was going to be a physical battle.
When you saw receivers lining up at fullbacks and running backs in the backfield, like Puka in the backfield, Cooper Kupp in the backfield, how tough is that on the linebacker?
I mean, it's tough, obviously, because they kind of can get a tell when we're guarding those guys. So I feel like it kind of put us in a dysfunctional spot, but that's what the great offensive minds do. They kind of try to find a way to get their best players on in key matchups. So I'm excited to see, what he do with the pieces that we have on offense.
Mack, when the interview processes are all going on, and you probably see some of the things that are going on social media, just what are the group chats like with some of the guys? And just when the news finally did come out that you do have a head coach, what was some of the excitement from other teammates?
Yeah, honestly, throughout the whole process, I was texting Jacoby. Like, me and Jacoby text almost every day for 26 days straight throughout this whole process, just kind of dictating or predicting who we thought was going to be the coach or whatnot, and kind of just talking ball in general, just based on how we feel like the team should move headed into this season, and what's our expectations, our goals, and things like that. And Jacoby's a guy who I've been able to build a great relationship with over the last 2 years, this past last season, and it's been dope, honestly, just to see how everything unfolded. We was obviously wrong on every prediction we made, so to end up and get Coach Mike LaFleur and just to see how everything unfolded today, it obviously gives us excitement. I'm sure the fans excited to get this thing rolling, and I'm sure the players, once the players meet them and things like that, they're gonna be ready.
How are you doing physically?
I'm great. I'm ready to roll. Yeah, I'm great.
Shoot, really excited. I mean, if we can operate anywhere as closely as have the success that the Rams have had, that'd be a major positive. But yeah, I'm just getting to know Mike for the last. I met him here when he was interviewing, and just first impression, seems like a real genuine man and good family man. Seems like he's extremely passionate about the game of football. I'm sure everyone can feel that, like it oozes out of his whole persona, is that he's dead serious about football. So I'm just excited to get to work with him.
How does having a coach who's offensive-minded guy is going to call the offensive plays? How does that affect kind of the optimism around you right now?
I think for sure. I mean, I think the thing that I look to is just the Rams, and I mean, I did my combine training and pro day training with Puka, and to see how much success that he's had, and to work closely with him, and like I'm excited that hopefully he talked that the system is going to be built organically around the players, but I'm sure he's going to take and sprinkle in a lot of the McVay system and the Shanahan system. It seems like all those guys that play for those organizations play really well and maximize their playability and their play speed, and honestly turn into superstars. And so I'm just excited to get somebody from that tree, and hopefully they can bring some of that here.
I know the excitement around the building probably was pretty high. Just how rewarding was it? How much of like a weight off everybody's shoulder was it? Because considering how the season ended, to have some positive news, within the building.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big weight off our shoulder. A couple of my teammates texted me and were really excited about the hire. I think maybe halfway through the coaching hire, I felt like that was like I kind of had an inkling that Mike was going to be the guy. But it was a big, I guess, weight off our shoulders. And now that we have some sort of direction going forward, I think that's healthy as a player to have that.
Have you had a chance to talk to Puka yet about what Mike's like as a coach?
Not yet. I know he's busy doing Pro Bowl stuff, but I'm sure we'll reconvene this offseason and I'll get a chance to talk to him, sort of pick his brain.
I think you're excited knowing what the offense could look like, in a sense, what you guys could be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of what I touched on. I think from my standpoint, like looking at me, Marv, and Trey, like I'm excited to get with an offensive guy who hopefully can maximize all of our skill sets, and I'm just excited to get to work.
Honestly, how cool was it to see the head coach of the Packers here supporting his brother?
Yeah, that was cool. It's pretty cool that you have another set of brothers that are coaching, and one of them is my head coach. That's pretty cool.
How much have you really had a chance to kind of take in what happened at the end of the season for you personally, and the way you were able to really ascend? How much work went into that, and are you able to enjoy what you've accomplished personally?
Yeah, for sure. I think that sort of high for me is kind of run off and run its course, and now I'm looking forward to next year. I think it's easy to do it one year, but the great players can consistently do it year after year after year. And so while I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for what I was able to do, now it's like I just don't want to be a guy that got to 1,000 yards one time and then was never able to reach those numbers again. Like I want to be a guy that was just the start of the story. And now you went from a guy that had 200 yards through 5 games, and then finished 1,000, and then from there he never looked back. Like that's what I want my career to look like. And so I'm excited to hopefully match those numbers and exceed them by 400 or 500 yards and bring wins to this program, and bring playoff wins to the organization.